Hi everyone. This week we are going to begin our Twitter assignments. We have a series of Twitter assignments. Each week they'll be a little different. The main thing to remember about getting the maximum amount of points is to obviously follow the directions and to spread it out over a few days. You don't want to bunch it all up into like one day, and you certainly don't want to do it on Monday at 4 o'clock. Well, that may be when you want to do it, but that's not going to work in your best interest. So here's my sad little Twitter account that I just started, Professor Susan M. And I had another professor account, but that was tied to Philadelphia University, so I ditched that, and now I have this one. So yes, I only have 15 followers, most of whom are you, and I am still missing some of you, and I do have a list, and I have those of you who are following me already on the list. So if you don't have a Twitter account, you need to get up and running, and you will have plenty of time to, sort everything out and, get up to speed. It's not that difficult to just tweet or retweet. The other thing to remember is to always, you don't want to just retweet an article or anything or somebody else's tweet without contextualizing it. So that means you must always introduce it. Okay, later on, like starting in week 4, or is it week 3? In week 3 or 4, I forget, we are going to start practicing some micro-blogging copywriting techniques for Twitter. Twitter's a great tool for practicing copywriting techniques that you can use on any really social media platform, but because of the word count restriction, as a longtime Twitter user, I find that 280 characters just seems like so much, but to those of you who are new, it might seem kind of restricted. A couple interesting things I've included this week. This is Social Blade. You can actually go in here and type up any, let me see if mine comes up, my regular account. Yeah, so this is my regular account, and it will tell you, I have a grade C. Okay, I don't even know what that means, but I'm insulted. So, interesting. So we'll have to see what that means. I guess it just means I'm not really popular. I don't know. Well, screw you, Social Blade. Okay, so obviously, it's more important to do stats for, companies and organizations, although I am a little insulted. Okay, and then I think this is interesting, the top 25 users by followers. Look at Katy Perry. Katy, man. And then what I really think is interesting is how these top followers, I follow a few of these people. I follow Barack Obama. I don't think I follow Ellen. I don't, who else do I follow? I follow the New. I still follow the New York Times. I got mad at them, but I don't know if I broke up with them or not. So I follow CNN Breaking News too. So I follow a couple of these. But what's really interesting to me is to look at the followers. Okay, like Taylor Swift has 0. She follows 0 people. Okay, I think that's really obnoxious, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. Like I really like that Britney follows, at least some higher percentage of her fans, and also look at Barack Obama. He follows a lot of people. Justin Bieber, the Biebs, he is pretty good too. So I just think like these people who are like, I follow 129 people and I have 58 million followers. I don't know. I think that's a little obnoxious, and we're going to talk about that too. But it's interesting to see how a lot of these people are obviously performers and personalities, and not, and like CNN squeaked on the list, Jimmy Fallon, but again, he's a personality. YouTube, that's pretty impressive that YouTube has an A+ and following. Anyway, just a little bit of the interesting analytics. Okay, I just pulled up some demographics. This is from Sprout Social. This is a website I really like, and they actually use the Pew Social Media Report to compile their data. So it's obviously very similar to what you already looked at last week. But I think what's really interesting about Twitter is that people are saying, their revenues have gone down. And I think in the terms of such a competitive social media environment, maybe that's understandable. So people are like, oh, is Twitter doomed? However, I have to say, Twitter is really very much the top social media option for social customer service. And it beats Facebook, it beats Instagram, it beats everything. It is really the platform of choice for customer service for businesses and organizations. So that's why I think it's a really important platform. Like if you could only do two platforms, I think it might have to be Facebook and Twitter. I'm not sure. Like for business, obviously it would depend on your audience, but Twitter is not going anywhere fast in terms of how businesses are using it. Like over 80%, I think, of businesses with over 100 employees use Twitter. So it's very stable for that reason in that population. So obviously very widely used, very large percentage of 18 to 29-year-olds. Which is really a coveted demographic for marketers. And we will talk about some of the other demographics later. One, I found this interesting article, and I'll include it in week 2 for you from Meltwater. It's another publication that I read a lot. Why Twitter still matters for PR. And I think one of the things that they're saying is that it still is very used for customer service and for outreach. It's also very popular with journalists. So if you're in PR or media, journalists and news organizations are really the most active verified group of Twitter users, along with stars and celebrities. So 21% of journalists say the platform is most likely to grow in value to the media industry, and 40% say that it's the most valuable social channel. So I think that's pretty interesting, and obviously if you're in PR and you're doing media relations, that's a really important statistic to note. There's predictions that the growth of video is going to happen on Twitter, or that they're really going to start using it for streaming of sports and different kind of sports events. And actually Facebook is getting into that as well, so that should be an interesting competition. So there's some interesting takes that some industry experts have on the fate of Twitter that you might be interested in reading. So I will include that in week 2. And for now, let's get started on Twitter, and I will add you to the list and we'll start tweeting. See you next week.